morning. Freedom marchers, freedom family, freedom lovers, and freedom fighters. How are y'all doing this fine morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're at in the world? It is Friday, October 4th, 2024. And I wanted to do this quick live stream real quick because, yeah, I think it's some great news that Bill Haney is going to be starting a YouTube channel where I assume he's probably going to be discussing boxing, in the world of boxing, the politics in boxing, and all that good shit. And the reason it's good for the sport of boxing is because, well, you need a lot of different perspectives coming from different people within the sport, right? Bill Haney is, of course, an insider of the sport of boxing. 22 Rona was good. Bill Haney is a boxing insider, right? His son is a undisputed, 2-division champion. Even though he's actually a champion of recess right now in the lightweight division, or not lightweight, junior welterweight division. I hate all these stupid divisions. But anyway, Devin Haney, he's an excellent boxer, and Bill Haney is his father, his trainer, and his manager. And so, in the world of boxing, we have a lot of boxing insiders that do commentary on the sport of boxing. We have former boxers, we have people that are cool with boxers, that are friends, all that good shit. People in their corner, coaches, all that good shit. And for the most part, they seem to be coming from a perspective that is sort of on the mainstream, right? Sort of on the mainstream. And a lot of them appear to be compromised in my eyes. They're compromised, or they are pushing certain narratives that is not really good, right? Because we have a lot of casuals that cling to the sport now, and they're getting a lot of misinformation from a lot of these people. So you would think that a lot of these former fighters would operate differently, but they're really not, right? They're really not. So for instance, I'll give you an example. Andre Ward, right? Andre Ward is one of the best to ever box, right? He's one of the greatest boxers of all time, in my mind, right? And he has some sense. You would think he has some sense, right? He has some sense. He's very level-headed. He doesn't do all this rah-rah shit. He didn't do it while he was active, and he doesn't do it now, right? But I had to kind of look at him sideways when this whole thing came out about Ryan Garcia being a cheater, right? He cheated in his bout against Devin Haney. Point blank period. He was a drug cheat. But for whatever reason, Andre Ward defended Ryan Garcia, right? He defended Ryan Garcia. And a lot of these black commentators, the black YouTube boxing commentators and all that type of shit, take this are like kind of pandering to the Ryan Garcia side, and I don't understand it, right? And interestingly enough, Paulie Malignaggi went in on Ryan Garcia more than a lot of these black YouTubers and black boxing commentators, right? Black boxing reporters. And I find that very confusing because Paulie Malignaggi is supposed to be a racist motherfucker who don't like Devin Haney. But even he knew that Ryan Garcia was a cheating piece of shit. So, but Malignaggi is just one cat. And then, of course, you have other boxing YouTubers like, Champ Side. Shout out to Champ Side. A lot of people from the LDBC, 7A Sports TV, BFTB, and others. They rode for Devin Haney. They rode for what's right. but they get suppressed. They get shadow banned. They don't get the push that these other people get. And so I think that is good, like that someone like Bill Haney is going to enter the space to kind of give his perspective on what's going on in the world of boxing. I think it's good to have a lot of different perspectives, have an equal playing field, right? In terms of how they get their message out. Because when it comes to the shady shit, right? When it comes to making excuses for Ryan Garcia, when it comes to shitting on Devin Haney for the way he moves, even though he moves as a boxer should, right? As someone who wants to be great, as someone who wants to be legendary, that's how Devin Haney moves, but he gets shat on by most of the content creators in the space. And so we need more we need more voices on the other side, right? As well. We need more voices on the other side that are just as loud as the ones that have so much hate for Devin Haney. And I don't know what it is about that. I don't know why, right? I don't know why there's so much, because one thing that a lot of these content creators have in common, right? Like the boxing no-goes, who you know is Boxing Ego, Southpaw, Fanon, all these other people, the Schofields, all these people that, you know, the Rise podcast, Mill City TV, Fight Hype, Fight Hub. I mean, there's so many. There are so many that treat Devin like he is a scourge in boxing, when in reality, Devin Haney is one of the only boxers in the sport to operate as a boxer traditionally has, right? You know, before the 1 or 2 fights a year, before everything was about the money or how much money they can make in one fight and not being undefeated and all this other shit. So worried about being undefeated, so worried about, I can't fight too much because then I'm going to have to fight lesser competition and I'm not going to get as much money per fight. So I'm going to have to fight a bunch of times to get as much money as I would to fight a spectacle fight one time. You know what I'm saying? Before all that came about, before the Mayweather, before the Money Mayweather era, that's how Devin Haney operates in the sport of boxing. That's how, not just Devin Haney. There are plenty of boxers out there, right? I'm just using him because, of course, we're talking about Bill Haney, and of course, Devin Haney is the face of boxing. According, if you guys want to go there, Devin Haney is the face of boxing. That's just what it is. But that's my opinion, right? So in my opinion, Devin Haney is the face of boxing because he shakes up the world of boxing more than any other boxer. Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, whether he's hated, whether he's beloved, that's how it goes when it comes to Devin Haney. And Bill Haney is the face of boxing in regards to non-fighters, right? He is the most talked about. He has the most notoriety of any other like manager, any other promoter or whatever, however you want to think about it. And when it comes to non-boxers, Bill Haney is the face of that, right? That's in the space. And so I feel like somebody like Bill Haney can bring balance to boxing YouTube content creation, right? Because like I said, I don't want to do away with those other types of boxing content creators. They need to stay in the space. But we also need to have more louder voices on the other side to bring about that balance. And what we need more than that is objective, voices in the space as well that don't have a dog in the fight, right? They don't have a dog in the fight. They just love boxing, and they're very balanced, and their creation is more, their commentary is more based on factual data, right? And it's not tied to emotion because, they have loyalty to one fighter over the other. There's so many boxers, right? There's so many boxers in the world of boxing that we can get behind, right? And, as long as they are trying to do the best they can, as long as they're trying to fight the best and be great, like they should be, held up as such. They should get that recognition. They should get that notoriety. They should get that praise and admiration, because guess what? They're trying to do the best they can do in the sport, so and they need to be highlighted. It shouldn't just be about, oh, I don't like his nose, and oh, that guy got nice braids and all that type of shit. I mean, that's silly shit. Hold on. Devin Haney, 22 Runner says Devin Haney is squeaky clean. I mean, for the most part. Can Boots in his breakthrough? Man, I hope so. But he, with his promoter being Eddie Hearn, I don't know. Are you ready for the military draft in a couple of weeks? I'm too old, brother. Hold on. Okay. God damn. Am I ready for the draft? I ain't got to worry about it. I'm too old. Plus, I'm already served. So I served. I did my military stint, and yeah, the ready reserve period is over. Just so you know, the ready reserve period is over. You do ready reserves for 4 years after you get out. I'm done with that. But I mean, I don't know about a couple weeks, right? Where'd you get that from? I don't know about a couple weeks. Maybe in the next few months, because yep, Iran and Israel getting ready to go at it. And like I said, if Israel gets into it, if a full hot war with Iran, then we're going to be dragged in. That's for sure. Like that's just a given. But anyway, Boots Ennis. I don't know if Boots Ennis can break through being under Eddie Hearn, right? You know, especially if he's going to be fighting people like whatever the fuck his name is in the UK that he already beat. You know, why would he fight him again? Eddie Hearn is a snake in the grass, y'all. Eddie Hearn is not going to look out for the best interest of his fighter. He's going to look out for the best interest of himself. You know, whatever gets him the most money, whatever gets him, you know, to drag out a fighter's career so he can capitalize. That's what Eddie Hearn is into. Hold on, y'all. Yeah, I was hoping the red barn was open, but if there's a major war, isn't that a power grab to stay in power? Of course. Because we're going to be distracted by this war. And let me tell y'all something. If we do go to war with Iran, right, it's going to be World War III, right? Because that's just what it is. They want that. But we got to be prepared for the eventuality of the war coming to coming to United States soil, coming over here. We have to be prepared for that eventuality. It cannot be contained. It cannot be contained overseas. If we go into World War III, it's not going to be. And keep in mind the invasion that already is happening and has occurred over the last few years. We have already been invaded. We've been getting invaded for decades, but we've had a heavy invasion in the last 3 years. So the invasion has already begun in the United States. And we know these individuals can get weapons because that's what the Venezuelans have done. The Venezuelans has access to weapons, fully automatic weapons and all this type of shit. And they're terrorizing parts of the country. We know they're doing that already. Imagine if the Venezuelan gangs can do it. Imagine what the soldiers that have snuck in here under the guise of asylum, imagine what they're going to have access to. Imagine what they're going to have access to. Slim Hussein was good. How you doing, brother? So, you know, that's that. And, but, you know, until then, you know, we got plenty of boxing to look forward to. I think, what is this? When is, the next big fight? I forgot. Is it, Better Be It versus, Bivol? It's coming up. But anyway, I think Bill Haney starting a YouTube channel and going in, I think that's going to be very good for the sport of boxing because, again, it's going to bring another perspective. Bill Haney obviously is going to have some bias towards his son and towards people that operate like his son in the sport of boxing, but that's okay, right? That's okay. And, you know, it's cool that he's going to bring BFTB in on it. You know what I'm saying? I think that'll be a good pairing, you know, because the conversation is going to be needed. It's going to be great conversation. It's probably going to be funny as hell because, you know, Bill Haney is funny as hell and BFTB is funny, and it's going to be entertaining. But I think it's going to be great for the sport of boxing. And of course, I think that they're going to give the opportunity for people to come up and speak with them, which is not going to happen with most of these people, right? It's not going to happen with most of these people, you know. So most of these individuals that do boxing content, they're not going to just let people come up and talk to them and go in on, because I can tell you all this right now. People are going to call in and go in on Devin Haney. Devin Haney as well, yeah. So they're going to go in on Devin Haney, go in on Bill Haney, and they're going to go in on BFTB. So it's going to be interesting to see how they shut down all the narratives, how they shut down all the bullshit and the hate. It's going to be interesting to see that. We need that in the sport of boxing, because there's a lot of silliness going on, right? For instance, Fanon, right? Now, Fanon was, I always loved boxing, right? But I didn't really get into YouTube boxing content until I think it was 2018, 2019. And Fanon was the first boxing YouTube channel that I subscribed to. He was the first. And I love this content. You know, it was very balanced. It was very informative. And it was strictly about the boxing content. It wasn't, you know, any of the silliness and any of the hate going on. It was just, hey, he was just reporting boxing. He would talk about the stories. He would talk about the politics. And he had a good wealth of knowledge about the sport of boxing. I learned a lot from Fanon, right? Because I don't really have time to look at every stat, and you know, I'm not a casual, but I'm also not as versed in the smaller details of boxing and, you know, all that good shit. I'm not as well versed in how the rankings work and all that type of shit, because to me the rankings are kind of arbitrary depending on the sanctioning body. I feel like it's very arbitrary. They do what they want. I don't really like the sanctioning bodies. I don't like the WBC. I don't like the IBF. I don't like the WBO. I don't like any of those people. I don't like that, because again, they do things arbitrarily. Now the IBF is a little more solid and balanced. They're a little more consistent, but I think there should just be one belt, maybe two belts, you know, and then the other ones are just vanity belts in my mind, because what it does is, when you have all these different sanctioning bodies with these belts, it gives boxers too many avenues to duck, right? How many times have we seen a boxer be a mandatory in one sanctioning body, be a mandatory to a great champion that they can face and try to get that belt, but instead they go a different route. They go the other route, right? So like if they're mandatory in the WBC, they'll go the IBF, because, you know, it's the easier. This has been done. And if you have one belt and one champion, right? One belt, one champion, none of that undisputed bullshit, none of that, right? None of that chasing belts and doing all this, because again, these sanctioning bodies do too much arbitrary shit, like franchise belts and all that other shit, to give a fighter an opportunity to duck somebody and still be a champion. It's just ridiculous, right? So one belt per division, and that's it, right? If you want to be a champion in this division, you have to fight that champion, period, right? Of course, you're gonna have qualifiers and tournaments and all that other type of shit, and it'll make it a lot more interesting, because you have to face the best. The best has to fight the best when there's one belt. Otherwise, what are you fighting for, right? If you're not trying to fight the best, what are you fighting for? Why are you in the rankings? And that's my thing too. If you're not concerned with belts, if you're not concerned with unifying, if you're not in a division, and you just want to fight whoever you want to fight when you feel like it, like Tank Davis is fighting Lamont Roach, bringing Lamont Roach up to 135 for what? Tank is a champion at 135. He should be fighting his mandatories, right? He should be fighting people in the rankings at 135 that spent time in that division, that have been competing in that division. So if Tank is going to pull up Lamont Roach, to fight. So you're going to give Lamont Roach an opportunity to fight for your belt above all these other fighters that have been in this division, that have been campaigning and putting in the work? You know what I'm saying? 22 Ronin says Tim Bradley is a journeyman. Yeah, well, that's my thing, man. Tank Davis going to pull up Lamont Roach. For what? What's the purpose? Because it's an easier fight than Baranchik. It's easier. I know. Lomachenko ducked him, of course, right? That was a for show duck. People are saying that Shakur Stevenson ducked Tank, but I don't know the details. No one is saying anything. No one from either camp is saying anything about why that fight didn't happen and why there's no negotiations. No one's talking about it. So I can't say who ducked who in that one. But I don't understand. Yeah, I agree, Miguel Trevino. Boxing has become just like WWE. So here's my thing, Tank. If you're going to pull up Lamont Roach to 135, he's never fought at 135. Then you should lose your belt. Period. That's how it should be. If you're going to fight some arbitrary, some fighter down in another division, or if you're going to move up to fight another motherfucker for a belt up there, then you should be stripped of your belts. Period. Ain't no petitioning to give you time for none of this bullshit. There's way too many fighters at 135, way too many contenders at the most. Why bring Lamont Roach? Like, what are we doing here? So that's the thing. If there's one belt or two belts per division, and you step out and you're a champ, you step out, fight some other motherfucker. And so we gotta wait for you for this belt to be in. You lose the belt. Let somebody else get the belt. Now it's an interim. Now it's an opportunity to get that title. Period. That's how it should work. Victory, they suffer from cognitive dissonance. They're fighters. That is a great strategy to grow your channel. So he already has the he already has the notoriety. And when he starts the channel, people are going to tune in, like I said, to hate on him, to disrespect him. That's going to bring more people in. Of course, people that respect and admire and are also going to join this channel and subscribe. So that's going to be a good thing. But anyway, much love, like, share, subscribe. We're going to keep marching forward toward freedom. Peace.